John Gibbons joining us on the Jeff Blair Show. Are you a fan of Canadian second baseman? That's what we really want to know. What, John? What before we talk?
Sly, huh?
I know. Well, I don't know. I've been saving that one up. I've been thinking. Believe me, it was a late night last night, so I'm working with pre-written stuff here. Before we deal about the with the Jays, Brett Lawrie playing second base. I mean, I know it's been talked about. He played it in Buffalo last night, hit a home run. I have not seen any reports on how he played, but what's up with that? Is that something that we're likely to see at the major league level?
Jeff, we might. You know, we were talking. I mean, it's been something we've talked about off and on. Even the last time he came back from his when he had the rib cage problem. You know, we experimented a little bit down there in the minor leagues. And it was an option, you know, kind of looking at how the team's stacking up, what the future might hold. And so we figured before he comes back this time, play him a little over there at second base. And he could end up playing some second base when he comes back up. Just to give us some more options. You know, I haven't heard any reports about how the defensive play went last night, but, you know, his first go-round, and he actually came up, was originally a second baseman with Milwaukee, I know everybody knows, and a darn good one. So, you know, the thinking is, you know what, if you combine him and Reyes up the middle, it gives you some kind of range, some kind of strength up the middle, and just one thing we're looking at right now. There's no guarantees that's going to happen, but there's something we're looking at.
Yeah, I was going to say there's his days as a third baseman aren't 100% done yet. No,
definitely not. No.
What would be if you were to go with him at second? Would Edwin go to third, or you know, would there be? Would you need a longer term answer at third base?
Well, you know, if he does play some games at second, no, we'll keep that set up with Lindy and you know, Eddie, the DH, and first base, and Eddie might occasionally play some games over there, but you know, we could just run his Turris and
sure.
You know, DeRosa over there, depending on who's pitching, if we wanted to go that way. You know, his Turris really settled in nicely over there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think the thing we're kind of looking at, if it does happen, is, you know, you see what kind of, everybody knows what kind of range Brett has over the third base. You put him at second base, you know, it might, you know, might free him up even more. So we're just kind of looking at things, you know, just as we move forward to, you know, see how we're going to be better.
John Gibbons joins us on the Jeff Blair Show. You finally get the type of outing you need from Josh Johnson last night, and the bats go silent, and it quite often happens that way in baseball. It's not the first time it's happened, but what was the difference you saw between Josh Johnson last night and the Josh Johnson that we unfortunately have seen too much of this year?
Well, Jeff, I thought he was working ahead, getting that strike one. You know, we've been kind of talking about that. Everybody's been trying to figure out what makes a difference, but you know, it's like any other pitcher. I mean, you get ahead in the count, and strike one's huge. It makes it a heck of a lot easier, and he was doing that. And I mean, this is a team too. You know, when they start adding guys like Swisher and those Giambi and those kind of guys to this Cleveland team, I mean, that's kind of the way they approach it. And it's kind of, you know, some of the other hitters in their lineup are kind of taking to that also. So if they're going to give you strike one, it's only going to make it easier on you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that was big. He wasn't trying to live on the corners early. And I mean, he had a good fastball. I mean, the ball was popping pretty good last night. One of his better outings of the year as far as velocity goes, I thought. So, you know, of course, then, you know, we get skunked, and then he's got nothing to show for that. But, you know, he's got to feel good about that. I sure hope he does, because that's something to build off of.
John Gibbons joins us in the Jeff Blair Show. Of course, we and a lot of other people in the city have been pushing Steve Delabar's case for the All-Star game, John. I want to ask you, you know, Delabar's worked a fair amount. You know, you had Casey Janssen kind of being monitored earlier in the year. Are you at all worried about the workload, especially with Delabar right now heading into the second half?
No, Jeff. Well, we don't. It can't be the way it was in the first half. That's for sure.
Okay.
We don't think that'll happen. I mean, that was almost out of necessity, you know, with what was going on in the starting rotation. But those things have kind of calmed down. But they all worked a lot that first half. So, but you know, as far as Delabar, he hadn't pitched in a week. You know, he was a little bit stiff in his shoulder, you know, for a couple of days there. So we just backed him off. And then, you know, we made sure we got him in there last night because he's good to go. There's nothing wrong there. So, But if we're going to win some games, he's got to be a big part of it. And he's had a tremendous year. And I mean, when these guys, I mean, he's got that injury in his past. I mean, that's always in the back of your mind. But that weighted ball program he does seems to be the miracle thing around here now. And he feels good about it. He's as strong as ever, and we don't think there's really anything to worry about. But we'll still be conscious of some things.
Have you guys been happy with what you've seen out of Casey recently? He seems to, and I guess maybe a couple of times we've seen him where he wasn't in a safe situation. But is he, is he fine right now, or is there some concern about his workload?
Well, Jeff, the big thing with him lately is getting him enough work. Those two outings that I think you're talking about where he wasn't particularly sharp was games he came in just because he had to pitch. He had been out so long. And that's, I mean, it doesn't always happen, but a lot of times you put those closer in, in non-safe situations. You know how it goes. Whether it's the intensity or the whatever it is missing. You know what? They're usually not as sharp. So you got to keep an eye on them and maybe limit them to 20 pitches max, just so they get their work and they're ready to go the next night. But he's we monitored him pretty good. All that first half. And he's strong as can be right now. But he got to the point in the last couple of weeks where he just had to pitch because we wanted to keep him sharp. And when he did get in there, it was so long in between appearances that he wasn't sharp. But we have some options down there. If he gets if it's a good thing if he's getting a lot of work. And if we need to, we can throw somebody else in that role. Possibly two All-Stars we can lean on down there.
John Gibbons joins us in the Jeff Blair Show. You've made a switch in the starting rotation. Mark Burley will now start against the Orioles. And R.A. Dickey will be, I believe R.A. Dickey will be facing.
Right, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, we'll be facing Cleveland. R.A.'s had some difficulty with Baltimore. Is that one of the reasons?
Well, what we did, we looked at it. I mean, it's we're at the halfway mark, and this would have been his fourth start against him already this year. And Burley hadn't faced him yet. That's basically all it was. And yeah, I mean they've had some pretty good games swinging it against him. So you keep that in mind. But really, all it came down to, I mean that's a lot of outings against one team in half a season. We'll throw it around a little bit and switch it around and give them a new look too.
John, I appreciate you doing this. Thanks so much. Have fun in Cleveland.
JB, I'm glad to do it.